guys, welcome back to Quadratic. You'll notice I've no longer got the drones on the wall because I'm moving to Finland next month for part of my PhD and I'll be there for 2 years. So hopefully I'm going to get some good quad shots and nice reviews there. But today we're taking a look at this, the Diatone GT Marauder 2.5. And you can tell it is an incredibly weird looking quad. I've never seen anything quite like this. So hopefully this is going to fly and perform well, even with this insane motor layout. So we're going to go ahead and test that out. There's a link in the description to get 11% off this or any quad from Banggood, and if you download the app as well, you'll be able to get 10% off your first order. So go ahead and check those out. Anyway, let's stick this on the bench, look at the components, and then we'll go ahead and give it a flight test at the end. Okay, so here it is, what is perhaps one of the most weirdest quad designs I have ever seen. It should be noted that you can also get this in the standard X-frame style, all the exact same components, pretty much the same quad for the same price, so you can check that out on Banggood as well. I'll leave a link in the description, but I thought it would be awesome to test something this weird out, and I really can't wait to go and flight test it. So let's quickly take a look at all the components and the specs of this. In the box we get the propellers, which I actually attached. You'll notice on top these are actually cross-headed screws that hold the propellers in, rather than the normal sort of Allen key nuts that we get to go in there. So be warned, you'll need a mini screwdriver if you do go ahead and purchase this. So we have the props in the box. We've also got a spare cable in here, some zip ties, this to connect the receiver because it is a plug and play. I actually unsoldered this. This was already soldered on. You'll be able to see a little 3-pin connector. I desoldered that and then soldered on my FR SkyX Mini on the top here, and decided to get rid of that. We've got 2 battery straps, also a couple of nuts and bolts, a little rubber bit for the battery, which I've already gone ahead and put on the bottom here, and then also a spare XT30 connector plug as well in there. So that's what came in the box, as well as the quad, of course. So let's go ahead and take a closer look at this. You'll see it is I don't even know what shape you would call this layout. Maybe sort of like almost like the sword from Legend of Zelda, I don't know. But it is really cool, awesome layout. I've not seen this sort of design before, so I'm really interested to give it a try. The frame design is listed as actually being titanium on the website, but I think that could just refer to the colour rather than the actual material of this. This is probably some sort of steel, maybe possibly an alloy. And then of course we've got the carbon fibre base plate on the bottom there, as well as a 3D printed little stack in here with these standoffs included. So this really nice frame design is sort of quite an elongated thing. We don't usually see something this long in mini quads, so I'll be interested to give it a try. We've got an XT30 plug down here, which I mentioned, and this is rated for 3 to 4S. It actually says on the box that the PIDs are tuned for a 3S, and if you want to fly 4S, then you're going to have to retune the PIDs on that. So to start out with, I'll probably use a little 3S 350 milliamp hour 30C battery like this. I've also got a 4S one similar to this as well that I'll test it out on, so we'll be able to see how it performs on 3 and 4S. So going on to the stack, you'll see we've got a 3-tier stack here with the ESCs on the bottom here, with some nice red cable, which I think is a nice touch. It goes with the quad quite well. And this is actually a 20 amp ESC, F25 ESC it's called, and this is really quite high for something of this standard and this size, so I am impressed. But knowing Diatone, they do include a lot of high quality components in their builds, and you really do get a high amount of value for money, so it's quite believable that they would use an ESC of this rating on a quad this size. So hopefully we're going to get some real power going through this on that 3 and going up onto that 4S battery as well. On top of that, you'll see we've got the USB connector, so this is RFC on the second stage, and you'll see it also seems to be shock mounted on these little blue plastic sort of elastic bands almost, to sort of dampen some of the vibrations that we get on the quad. So this is the EFC. This is a Fury F4 8K flight controller, 6-axis with of course on-screen display, 5 volts and 2 amp rated as standard. So this should be more than substantial enough to power the rest of this quad. You'll also notice we've got what looks like a capacitor on the back and the top of here, and this is apparently an CLC filter filtering method for reducing interference because of sort of voltage ripples and, as they say on the Chinese website, electromagnetic wave. So hopefully we should see some reduction in interference going on here. So then if we go on to the top, you'll be able to see we've got what looks like TBS on here. Is that Team Black Sheep? You better believe it is. This is the Team Black Sheep Unify Pro VTX, and this is the 5-volt version. So like I said, they do use top quality components in their builds, and you'll be able to see that here. So if they've not made any adjustments to this, this is going to be rated at up to 800 milliwatts of power, which is incredible for a mini quad this size, especially a stock one and not a custom built one. And you'll be able to see we've got the switch here to change the frequency channel as well, and the output power on that. You'll also notice at the top I've got the little FR Sky Mini. This is because it is a plug and play version. I don't believe this comes as ready to fly, so you will have to go ahead. So you'll have to go ahead and attach your own receiver on there. But that's not going to be a problem, of course, if you've got a mini one like this. And then, of course, you've got the freedom to use whatever you want on there as well. Going up to the front, you'll notice we've got a distinctive orange camera. This is the Runcam Micro Swift 2 camera, which I don't really need to say much more about. That's widely used and is sort of being put in quite a few mini quads nowadays that are coming sort of stock. And becoming sort of the standard, which is nice to see because Runcam is a great brand and it is a pretty decent camera as well. So hopefully we're going to get some nice crisp images on this, and we're all going to enjoy the flight footage. Going over to the motors, you'll see we've got the Diatone's own racing brand motors. These are, as you can see, 1104 motors, so 6000 kV, and hopefully these should provide enough thrust for this little quad, though I am interested to see how they handle this sort of weird layout. So this is going to be an interesting flight test for the first time of trying it. Also, these are 2-inch little propellers on top. These are actually, I think, Gemfan Rotor X, 1940 rated on there, you'll see. So pretty standard. You only get one pair of those, so be sure to either have your own or go ahead and buy some more of these, and I'll see how they handle in the flight test. So anyway, that's pretty much it for the quad and the components. I'm really interested to see, as I've mentioned a lot of times, how this is going to fly now, how it's going to handle flips, and if it can go that fast. And of course, how much this front prop is going to be in that camera, because I don't really like seeing props in the camera, so this could probably be the worst design ever for that, or we could try and increase the angle of the camera a little bit to try and get that out of the view of the camera. So let's go ahead, go and test it out, and I'll show some flight footage right now. And here is the flight footage, and first thing, this is on 4S. It is insane. I really can't believe how powerful this quad is and how quick it is on this 4S battery. You'll see here I'm just absolutely flying about. It is amazing to fly. I'm not sure how good that voltage monitor at the bottom is. It seems to be a little bit iffy, but the current draw seems to be sort of fitting with the power draw that the quad is doing in the moment, so I'm kind of happy with that. But nevertheless, this is amazing on 4S. It is so fast. I really don't think this area here was big enough to be flying it on 4S, because it just gets to one end to the other such a short amount of time. It really is quite amazing. It stood up to a lot of bashes. You'll notice I crashed quite a lot on 4S because this flies, I don't know, not weirdly in a bad way, but sort of differently to how you're used to. I don't think I can really put it in words. The way it flies, it just sort of feels a little bit different to what you're used to, obviously, with an X-frame. Not different in a bad way, just slightly different, like it might take a couple of flights to get used to how it behaves. But nothing is really drastic or massively compared to an X-frame flight, and I wouldn't say it's as big a change as I was expecting. It's just something sort of noticeable that's in the background, really, as opposed to sort of distracting from the flying at all in any way. So no negative impact, I'd say, of this frame design at the moment, just from these little tests that I've done in this little bit of grass here. This is back onto 3S, and you'll see this is before I upped the camera angle, so you can see the front prop clearly at the bottom of the view there. So I decided to take it off and increase that angle, and in the next shot it is the highest angle that the camera can actually go, so you still get the little bit of the prop in the bottom, which is a little bit annoying, but but you can't really increase the camera angle much more than that, which is a little bit annoying. So I've left this on 25 milliwatts because it's actually illegal to go over that, and you'll notice there is some static, but of course with this being the amazing TBS Unified Pro receiver, transmitter, sorry, then you're going to be able to go a lot higher than that on your video transmission, so don't worry about any interference because this can go, of course, up to 800 milliwatts. Flying this on 3S with the PIDs felt really nice. It was really sort of, I wouldn't say calm, but a lot more gentle than being on the 4S, but nevertheless still really packed a punch. Although obviously compared to the punch out on the 4S, it's not really going to be as powerful, which we'll see here. I've had a few throttle problems thinking like just this bit here where I was giving it enough power and it just wasn't receiving that oomph that you get like on the 4S. But on the 3S, it is still really, really zippy and really fun to fly. And this is just a really great all-round quad. I'd really recommend it to anyone, really. Even with the crazy frame design, it's still really, really beautiful to fly, really, really fast, and of course can do all sorts of tricks and everything with absolutely no problem and with ease of the X-frame design as well. Pretty much comparable to that, I'd say. I wouldn't say I noticed many differences, although it does feel slightly different. And I'm going to end the review there because I got stuck in a tree and my quad is still lost. I can't get it down, so hopefully I'll go back later and it might have fallen down. Anyway, guys, thanks for checking this out. Be sure to check out the links in the description for a discount on this, and I'll see you next time, guys. Peace out.